6 o'clock. We'll call this meeting on our second Tuesday night, May 9th here, Finance Committee meetings. Tonight's agenda is wholly Sheriff's Department, looking at 101, 111. We can talk about that 122 at the end. Of course, that's the county drug fund, pretty much in and out money on that case. But we will start here with the 101 of the sheriff's budget, starting on page 19, if you will. I'll find us there with page 19. We are talking about, we've already done judicial commissioner, so we are at courtroom security. That's where we are starting. Sheriff Russell, do you want to discuss with us here on courtroom security? I noticed a bit of a decrease in this one.
Yeah, I had an opening for a long time. We were trying to find somebody to hire. Philip was the main thing. And hired Joe Sullivan's back, work a couple days a week. That's all he could work, being retired, drawing TCRS. And another thing we've done this year, we're trying to do it about 5 years ago, me and Turnbow, was do a courtroom liaison. So Cheney's our courtroom liaison. What that is, instead of all the deputies having to come in on court day, they might have one case, and be sitting there 3 or 4 hours doing one case. What Cheney does, he takes everybody's cases, presents them himself. So that way, I don't have one officer there to 10 or 12. Yeah, it cuts out a lot of overtime.
Yeah.
Yes.
I wanted to do it about 5 years ago, me and Turnbow.
But they want to
CA want to do it now.
but they contest it, I guess, in all
Yeah,
states.
you have to subpoena them.
Yeah.
But it saves us a lot of money in overtime. And I got Joe, he's getting ready to, I got to get him some uniforms. He's going to have to start courtroom too, and then jail over, filling in, doing some transports. But we really hadn't changed any. It's pretty much the same as it was last year, other than hiring Joe, working 2 days a week.
Is that in that fourth guard, that one part-time, the three, it says 3 part-time, 1 full-time?
Yeah, that's correct.
So the other, you've got 3 part-time employees in this?
I've got 3 part-time, yeah. Our court is really picking up. We had court there every day this past week.
Well, I was noticing that same thought there. In the past, it had been down a little bit due to
It's
some.
picking back up again. We had 13 we had booked for court civic cases that happened out there last week, a few months ago. We had to bring in at one time 11, 13 to bring in. 5 of them were murder. The other were aggravated assault, really snaps. Anything happens out there, we might not work the case, but things through our court system, we have to have it.
Might be interesting to see how much that is affecting the budget versus our citizens that are.
Yeah, it's hard to do a figure on it. We got 5 in Nashville right now committing murder out there. That's ours. And Judge Kane done a special order to hold them there because I can't put them down here.
Understood.
With what we've got. And every time we have to go get them from court, we got 5 of them. It takes 5 cars, really 6. Put 2 guards in the car to 1 inmate to the car. So it takes a lot of shuffling around and overtime.
So is that overtime coming out of a different line? Because this overtime didn't change.
It comes out mostly out of the regular patrol.
Any questions? Any other members?
This right here probably stay pretty close to the same as it is right now for next year.
You talking about at the 79,000?
Yeah, it probably stay fluctuating some out in that area. Hopefully it will. It's hard to tell what things are.
Understood. Any other questions on me, member? How do you feel on courtroom security budget here? Anybody want to put that in the form of a motion, favorable recommendation for courtroom?
I'll make the motion.
Have a motion and second of a favorable recommendation for courtroom security budget. Any other discussion?
I'm glad to see Mr. Sullivan's back.
Oh, yeah, I'm glad he's back too. It's good for him and good for us too.
Exactly.
Glad to see.
I wish he could work more. We're hoping that he could work more. The legislation goes past, so he could work more than what he is with TCR rates. I'd like me to go there 2 weeks at a time, and they can transport this stuff.
All right, if, all those in favor of this budget with a favorable recommendation of courtroom security, let it be known by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed? It is favorable. All right, next one, we're moving to page 20. We're looking at the sheriff's department, the 5400 account. Mr. Russell?
We have increasing, asked to increase officers this time. Forward, put one for a shift. We work 4 shifts, ABC shift. We work 12-hour shifts, and that'd be 1 to each shift. And dispatchers, right now we got 1 on and 1.5 on. It's got to where the federal government and the state is requiring so much more of our dispatchers now. For instance, if one's there by herself or he, they got a 911 call comes in, they have to stay on the phone and talk to people about maybe having a heart attack. They have to stay on the line with them, talking through things. Then another line rings, 911, you can't hang the phone up to answer the other one. That's kind of where we're at now. You know, 20-something years ago, we did have 2 dispatchers. We had 1 in the county, 1 in the city. If we went metro, we would have 1
So would this put 2 on at all times,
at all times.
on dispatch?
That's critical that we do this that way because of our call volume we're getting. I tried to do a split shift, what we do now, it's like from 12 noon to midnight. But now it seems like during the 9 hours, there's more and more.
How many officers would this increase?
4 officers.
4 total.
What I plan on doing with my officers is split the county into 3 zones, put 1 in each zone, especially down on 231 area. We constantly get calls down there, and we might have somebody, a lot of nights I'm just working too. You got vacation, sick time, and other things, training. A lot of times I'm down to 2 here at the county. You might have an officer in case and get a call down on 231. And it just takes a long time to get there. Which right there, that was just, we haven't really asked for any officers much in the past 15 years. When I first started, it was 1 on in the county and 2 on in the city. Most of the time, except for night when you're on call. So we're still basically, in ways, about the same we were 30 years ago.
But you got 3 detectives during the day?
They're busy doing courtroom, sex offender registry, having to do up visits for them. They all got other jobs they do other than just investigate. Investigating's enough as its own.
But I mean, on day shift, you got several.
Well, they got split. 1 comes in at 6, 1 8, and 1 10. Spread it out.
I know we're not
I don't
on,
have to fill in for, they got to put uniforms on the work. Because I am running short-handed. But here recently, Troy had the uniform on for 2 months, working on the shift. Until Jalen got out of the academy.
I know we're not on page 22 of this at this point, but I noticed it says that the government has instated an SRO grant of $230,000 a year. We already have those SROs, 3 of them in our budget.
Really, in one sense, I'm really only asking for pay for 1 officer. Because I'm gonna take this money that we're getting and pay the salary, benefits, and overtime for the SROs.
Right, but in here, it's increased more than just from the 677,000, I'm on line item 106, $677,990 last year, 810,000 for 4 officers. That's all 4 officers' salary in that. Correct? I'm on page 20, line item 106.
Okay.
So that would be the increase there from,
That and in the urban service budget.
what I'm getting at is that would be for all 4 officers, right? So it does have,
Yeah.
in other words, 4 new officers being paid, plus you're getting the money from the SROs.
Yeah,
Am I reading that
pull the
correct?
SROs out, 'cause that's the way they wanted us to do it, separate it. The governor came and talked to us about this, or sheriff's good, and told us how they were gonna do this, separate it out.
Is the 230 gonna be there no matter what?
Yeah. It's no time limit.
So,
No set time, like 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, you never, you said it's gonna be there. Never said anything.
and Sheriff, I know for the years I've been on this, I've seen that you run a really tight budget. I appreciate that. I want you to know that.
I never asked for anything about it.
I agree with that, and I see that part. What I'm asking myself, and I don't know if anybody else wants to speak here or seeing what thought I am, but I'm wondering if there's a way that we were fortunate that the SROs were paid for. It was a very good time for that to come on. Sounds like you need the 4 deputies. Is there a way that $677,990, which has been increased to $810,000, could be lessened to cover the same officers since you're getting the new money in for SROs? That's what I was getting at.
Yeah.
So what could we make that line item at and still let you cover?
Should be 810, you just gonna pay one officer for 677, it should jump up to 810, you just gonna pay for one officer out of it.
It's still gotta be in this budget.
Say that again.
It's still gotta be in this budget. It'd be just like adding 1 to this. But what you're doing is, the 3 SROs, you got the money for those in that one budget. So really, you should be running 1 here.
If you got 155 in that, and SRO, and 810 in this one.
Well, he's talking about the offset. The offset of the 230 that's coming in is gonna offset the 3 others that he's asking for. So even though he's asking for 4, with the offset of the grant that's coming through, really, we're just adding 1, but we still have to budget for everybody.
Yeah.
So in my understanding that you're saying in our budget, we've got to put it there, but it's actually not gonna be spent?
It'll be spent, but you have 230 coming in on your revenue side.
Let me just say.
What I was wondering was, did you have that 230 somewhere already in your budget?
No, that's what we're gonna get from the,
Yeah, I knew that's what you get from the government.
yeah.
I've gone over to the 111 as well for a second. And in the 111, if we can, I hate to jump around here, but if we look at the 111 real quick, in line item 106 again, which is deputy salaries, it's been increased from 235,000 to 350,000. If I added those up correctly, it increases on salary for the 4 deputies that we're talking about. That's a total of $247,011. If I'm jumping too fast, we'll slow back here. I'm on page 3 of the 111, line item 106 again, we're still talking salaries. In that one, there's an increase there of 115,000. In the other, there was in the 106 of the 101, there was an increase of $132,011 for a total of $247,011 split to these 4 new employees is what I'm trying to understand here. When we're getting a income of $230,000 for the SROs, that's new income. I think I'm saying here is I see that you need these officers, and that I'm not seeing a problem with the officers necessarily, but I'm trying to see if there's not the money here. So what am I reading wrong on that?
I'm just trying to follow. Of the 4 new deputies, how many of them were you wanting to go to general? Because it might have been a miscommunication between you and
I
I.
think we said 3 to go in the general, 1 in the urban.
Okay, I think that's how I have it.
Yeah.
I mean, I got a problem with urban. I don't think we need to increase the urban budget. I think urban's already paying for enough. So I mean, I don't know how the other urban service council feels about it. I mean, we ain't got to that, we still don't want to.
And I should have asked this question at the beginning. I asked this to Ms. Amy, and she said, as this budget stands, it does not require an increased tax levy on this sheriff's budget. No additional pennies moved over.
You know, to me, it don't really matter. I get the 4 guys, you stay urban or general, I don't care. I just kind of fill it out where it's very equal.
Yes, sir.
Equal.
Yes, sir. So maybe
I
I'm,
pay taxes too, and I pay a good little lump, and I know how everybody feels. But we're gonna have services, we're gonna have to, you know.
But the people in urban services is already paying for their share.
I know how you feel. I live there.
Why do we have to pay extra? I mean, we get the same places that people out in general.
It's like garbage pickup and other things that we, you know.
I will
When
remind,
we ain't on the 111 fund, yeah, we still on the 111.
yeah, I will remind us when we're talking 111, I believe the sheriff has told us in the past that 1 officer must be in the urban service at all
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
But they got one in the county at all.
Pretty large county,
Service.
but I get what you're saying.
But if you break it down, the amount of calls, call volume, we got as many calls in the city we do out of the county. If you broke it
And
down.
we make trouble.
Yeah, I always thought it was on tax.
I know it, that's why I look at it, but we have to pay our extra.
I know
cost.
I'm right there.
I know it, you have to pay it too.
I guess what I'm asking, and I've asked Miss Amy here, she's on this piece, it looks like to me that $230,000 is coming as revenue to the county for the SROs. That covers, we're talking $247,000 worth of salary increases here to get to cover the whole. It looks like that's only $17,011. I'm trying to understand why we need the large increase in this expenditure side when we got that money covered. Can it not be quoted that way? Can it not be written there? That $230,000 is coming in,
Yes.
correct? Those officers are already funded. We've already been funding them. So that's like 3 positions have been given to you, is the way I'm reading it. If I'm misunderstanding that somewhere,
Okay, and they were never included in that deputy line item. Does that help? They had their own line item.
it does, but the dollar's still there.
It is.
And the dollar that we were paying those is still available. That dollar didn't just magically go away.
Mhm.
So that dollar was already being paid to cost of those 3 positions. They already have 3 vehicles. All I'm trying to say is, it looks like to me, and where am I missing it at? It looks like to me we got an income of $230,000 for 3 places. It's an increase on salaries to include these employees of $247,011. That's $17,011, which I'd be great with, is what I'm saying, if that's what we're talking about here to get this thing rolling.
Yeah.
I think, and I appreciate what you said. You talked to me before saying I need these things to cover this piece. I like your plan that you're planning to divide the county into 3 routes. I think you got a good plan here with it. I'm not disagreeing with those pieces. I hope we see that part. I'm just trying to understand where it looks like there's $230,000 more coming in already for those, $230,000 more coming in for those 3 SROs. And it's only an increase of $247,011 to cover the cost of the 4 new officers you're looking for. I'm trying to understand why we had to increase those line items so large, I guess. It increased the budget on the total by 28.6%, going from $1,682,011 to $2,164,716. And I do realize that $290,000 of that is in vehicles, one-time cost. Mr. Dennis, are you seeing some of the same?
I am, the increase of the officers there from, main budget of 667,990 to 810, that's a 19.5% increase. But if we've got income, the $230,000 worth of income in three positions that were already in the last year's budget, because the schools had SROs, correct? Motion forwards.
So those numbers that you see in 54,120 were in 54,110. And I'm sorry that I'm not following what you guys are putting down. I just moved those amounts down to 54,120. So 54,120 is brand new this year. That has never been on the budget.
Okay.
So
All right, let me understand that going further. Did you, the 149,658, was it included in the 677,990 last year?
It was not. That was its own line item.
But it was in this fund.
It was in 54,110. Yes.
Okay. Now, I'm getting back with you now.
Okay.
Okay.
I see where you're at as well.
Yeah.
This is a new created line itself, new budget itself for SROs to go into that place.
Correct.
So that original 204,000 was over in the 54,110.
That's what the state wanted us to set up.
That makes no sense.
Okay.
There makes no
If
sense.
there's any money left over, it can carry over to next year, and if I got enough money, I can buy a car with it, buy equipment, or anything we need, as long as it goes toward school security.
That makes sense. Great.
I would miss it too.
That's where I was, and I see one, because I saw your face over here, I'm thinking, what, somewhere I'm missing something. So that's a total new line in this case. That
Right.
dollar amount has been moved from it. Okay. So technically, that 677,990 was actually 200,000 more than that. There we go. All right, that clears me back up.
Well, I mean, if you even look down about 5 lines there, that 54,110, 170, school resource officer, it's completely blank now in 54,110 because I moved all those numbers down. Now, all the benefits included, of course, those numbers, but I took everything that had to deal with the 170 and moved it down to 154,120.
Makes a lot more sense. Makes the increase of that look a lot different too.
So you're asking for 4 officers, or let's get paid, or you get paid for 3.
So they just-
Or less, we just pay for 1 extra officer.
Yeah.
But then how many more cars we gotta get?
But the thing about it, the cars we ordered last year, we got 2 weeks ago. So
I thought it was some news, you said nowhere.
Yeah, we got them 2 weeks ago, they were ordered this time last year. And when I ordered some more, it'll be this time next year. So the cars that I would take off the road, I'm gonna have to run for another year till I get the other cars in. So,
I thought it was some news.
yeah,
You're asking for 5 new vehicles though, correct? 4 officers, 5 vehicles. Am I correct on that?
yes, this budget year, yeah.
Why would you think 5 if you got 4?
So I normally get 3 every year, rotated. 4 new officers coming on, 4 cars.
Because it's a total of 7 over the
Yeah.
total accounts, so 7 new vehicles. And the equipment to supply 7 new vehicles.
It's not really
How long do you say it's taking to get them right?
It takes a year to get them after we order them.
So they may not even come in this budget, do they?
We got ours in, yeah, we just got them in 2 weeks ago, this year's budget.
And what
Whenever
you
we
ordered
do,
last year?
yeah, whenever we do a purchase order, that purchase order is good, even though if it did come into the next year, it would be good because we got a purchase order here before. We would still honor and do our budget.
So you're asking for 5 new cars.
Yes.
How many you got all together now?
Oh, counting the ones I use for, transport. About 22.
So if we get 5 this year, you gonna ask for 5 again every year, 3, go back to 3, or
Or 3.
you do 5, because you get the new officer, then you go back to asking for 3 or?
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna tell you how to like shoes in.
It's overtime paid. You get fully staffed now, but that shouldn't be as bad.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about, us doing this liaison too, it's gonna cut out a lot of overtime. Being full staff, it cut out overtime. Yeah, I hope that's gonna make some difference in.
Sure. Free on that 130 and all, that's what I'm saying, like especially fully staffed, like. And plus you ain't got your officers going to court now, you got the liaison, that was like a lot right there.
Yeah, I don't know. Trying to find it.
187, I think, is the one we're
Yeah,
currently talking
187.
about.
I could probably take it down to about 100. Okay, proposed 130.
Because you asked for 90 last year, you went up to 128, but that's because you're short, and I mean, 100 probably sounds like a pretty good.
Yeah. And another thing too, what I'm gonna do this time, the SROs to get out of summer, being off, I'm gonna try to pay them through the year overtime. So the summer months are gonna go too. So my other officers have to take in services, vacations, they're gonna be able to fill in. So we'll cost them this overtime there too. The overtime we won't be paying to be on them, but plus in the summer now too, they have this summer program, summer school. They want somebody there all summer.
Just for one school or all?
Just all the students go to elementary school. And that once SRO there. And so last year, we didn't have the staff or the money to fund it. I think it's so new. So I took a car out there today, parked it, picked the thing. So this year, I'm planning on having somebody there.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
You got a lot of kids, you got 250, 300 kids
Yeah,
coming every
it's
day.
more.
It's a needed.
Yeah.
You got grades kindergarten through 8th grade. A lot of kids involved.
You got 12,000 in travel here too, that's a big job.
That's a lot of our, training and travel. We had some big prisoners, we got some elders somewhere going out of state.
But you didn't use the 2,500 last year, it looks like. Just get your
Is that an increase from picking up core civics inmates and the ones that are in Memphis and stuff like that? Is that what you're trying to gauge there?
Yeah, I mostly run most of that in overtime. Sometimes we have to stay overnight, get a motel room. Most time I try to go myself instead of sending a deputy because I really can't pay overtime. I've been to Florida, Georgia, Cincinnati. I go myself and have to, sometimes I'll take a correction officer with me, keep my full deputy off the road. We have to get a room, most times you drive down, get a room, spend the night, get it next morning, load them up, come back. You know, we do. We have to go to Louisiana, we've been everywhere around southeast.
Now, who's your records clerk? Say, let's talk with the jail down here.
Whitney, my records clerk over the city hall. takes care of all the case files, DAs, she has to run copies for DAs, attorneys, anything that we do. Defense attorneys, the DA, everybody wants copies of it, with all the accident reports and all that.
So she's got all this other.
Yeah.
You don't think you can trim that 12,000 down there back to 5, because you just used 2,500 last year on that travel?
We'll knock it down later.
We're on line item 1355. On 12,8,500. Did I hear that, 12,8,500? Sheriff, going back up to the 106, since I'm still trying to figure out some numbers there myself to get that $132,011 that was increased in that line item, and I get where the SRO piece was now. I guess I'm struggling. How much of an increase in pay is in there for all the other officers that are already there?
Just whatever, we'll put it 2.5%.
There it is,
Is it 2.4? Is that what it is in there?
2.5.
2.5.
That's what everybody else is asking, or was it the step increase?
Was the step 2.5 or 2.4?
2.5.
2.5.
Well, 101,399, contracting services, where y'all got that?
2,000.
2,000, well, my question was going to be for you was, you had it at 2,000, but it looked like you only 600, so.
No, one thing I want to increase that this time.
2,000 is what you asked for last year.
Yeah, but I had some, my LPRs we had last year, I put in for those. I was increasing that to 17,000.
Where'd you jump to? I'm sorry.
399, contracted services.
Yes.
So the LPRs are license plate readers that we contract with this company to put up on our highways. Whenever cars pass through, it reads everybody's license plate.
That is at 471.
471.
That's a
Am I
software.
looking at the wrong one?
Yes, sir, so that's gonna be a line item 471.
Okay.
Software.
Okay, I see it now,
LPRs.
yeah.
That's 20,000.
Yeah,
So you are asking for that, and you are gonna try to get them here?
yes. Sumner County's got them right now, Wilson County's already put them in. And already, we've made 3 or 4 arrests, and we also got a silver alert where somebody down in McMinnville, an elderly person was, I don't know, mentally ill or had dementia. And he hit it and had gout, and was able to catch him at 231 and pull him over and bring him down here to his family and we got him. That's what that does. It reads everybody's license plates, walks out on people or stolen car. Or it could be used, somebody rob a store, it takes a picture of the vehicle when they drive through. And,
I think it's really been a benefit to other counties catching stuff. I mean,
yeah.
not just
Well, they got one in Galvin right there at railroad tracks. You might see it's on a black pole and sticks up. That's what that is. We contracted this company to put them in and service them. We've been trying to get them in for over a year. That was a delay with the legislature had to approve it.
Will that be 20,000 a year after you did it the first time?
Yeah, it's contracted. No, it'll be, 15,000. Let me go back there. I can go down to 15,000
On that 471, yeah, software.
Anything else there, Amy, that you think of, other than just that, anything else software that?
I think that was the only software piece that you had.
Okay.
You got 20,000 for laptops and patrol cars. So is that all your patrol cars you have them now? You trying to install it in all of them? or-
Well, these new cars, I'm gonna be getting,
Okay.
yeah.
That would cover all 7 cars?
That would cover 5.
That's 5 cars?
So you for real, I mean, you for sure.
Well, that data processing equipment, I think that covers all of our air cards, all that in there. With that, am I right?
I'm sorry, what was your question?
He was asking about, 709,
Mhm.
does that include our air cards and
Your air cards, I believe, are up in communication, 307. That's where your MiFi cards are.
Yeah, my fire, $850 a month.
So I think you were
Okay.
estimating about $4,000 per laptop for the patrol cars, because that'll cover 5 new cars
Yeah.
from 101.
Can you get by without 7 cars?
That's just like I was just saying, if I don't get 7 this time, I'm gonna be running the cars I didn't get rid of this year. I'll get these new extra officers, I'm going to run them, so they're gonna be over 200,000 miles. Wow.
I was getting ready to ask, they got about 200,000 miles. What
Yeah,
they
we
got?
usually don't take them off road until we get around 150, 200,000, when we start getting them off. They hold up better than the Crown Vic.
How long did the officer used to have a car before it gets that big?
About 8 years.
They keep them about 8 years.
You know, back a few years ago, it's been several years now, we didn't buy any cars there for a few years, I didn't get enough. Those times were real bad at the time. And later on, we had a bunch of junk, we had to get rid of them, you probably remember that, don't you, Jerry? We had a bunch of cars that they over 200,000 on, like one of them, you can see the ground, and I opened the floorboard.
How many total cars do we have?
It's probably around 20, 21, 22. Some of them are pool cars that we use when it breaks down or in the shop, these pool cars.
And does that include your, that's just total deputies' cars?
Yeah.
And this would move us to 27?
Yeah, but I'll be surplus some of them out next year. I would do it this year, but I can't retire, we're going to have to drive it for another year, so we should. There's still surplus ones.
Any other questions on the 101 side page? We're finishing up now at 21. Page 20 and 21 is where we're at still. Seems if I counted this correctly, we put 38,500 out of that currently. So you see no way in making it with 5 cars instead of 7, or?
I really need it to, I'll take it back through.
Well, I mean, we can get by with less than one, but I guess you'd have to order extra next year.
Yeah, make it for the, where we're at now.
About three cars I usually have every year.
So how much more is your budget estimated this year than we were last year? Is that, on page 21. Is at the bottom down there?
So that's just the 101.
That's on the road.
Yes, sir.
Sorry about that, I forgot to move it over.
If I figured the 101 out correctly, that is an increase in that budget line item of 28.6%. On the total of the 101, 54,110 budget. Keeping in mind, that is 4 officers and 2 dispatchers, correct? Additional 6 positions there, and then there's another one spread out here in a minute in another spot.
So how many of you are? 4 new officers. So what's, you have 2, how many, I mean, how you gonna operate them? We have 2 out, you got, now you got a sergeant that rotates between the city and, or.
Yeah.
So how you gonna be doing it then?
I'm gonna put it in zones, east, middle, and west.
And that's where they gonna be at all times in them zones?
Unless something bad happens, and I have to pull, you know how it is at times, you get something bad happen, you gotta pull over, pull out,
But
but
you
a lot of
have,
times I ain't got 2 on them.
so how many will that be a shift?
Well, Captain Smart.
So you got 3 on shift now.
A lot of times in the past, I had 2 on, a lot of times I pull my detective out and put a uniform on them and put them on the slack.
So you have 4 on a shift, and you have a sergeant with every rotate. So each deputy's gonna have his own zone.
Yeah.
So it'll be the Cato area, 231 area, then where's the other
One
area?
kind of here in the middle, Providence, and looking forward. In the sergeant meeting.
Okay.
You have one in the city too, you know, the city zone. Down at 231.
So then you are getting enough calls now that would show that you really need it.
Yeah. Well, we really needed it, I think, the last 3 or 4 years, but until we got the pay up, what we with all these positions, they might have nobody in them. Now we got the pay up, and people are staying and working and won't work here. I've already got 2 in the jail, has already asked me to go and work. Right now, the governor is waiving the fee to go to the academy. Also, you get to go for free.
You think we said something there?
And that's $3,500 an officer.
Yeah.
I've had 2 that got to go free. Jalen got to go.
So the governor's paying for that?
Yeah,
State?
he's doing a whole lot for law enforcement.
I
The
didn't
school is both, he's put a lot out there. And they're doing a lot of training too, that we usually have to pay for in services, they're doing for free. We put on some over it already me, and I'm training for you.
We come off, I mean, almost pay one of these officers knocking out that overtime. If he's got that many officers, I don't see he needs any overtime. But if you got 1 sick, you still gonna have 3 like you have now, that's on cover, I mean.
So what's the need in the overtime? Is that what you're sort of?
I mean, he's got it in his budget, but I don't think, I mean, if he's got that many officers now, I mean, for a shift, if one wants to call in sick, and we still have 3 like we got now, we should be covered. Instead of calling somebody in, you should have been using 3 like you got now.
That's what my goal is.
Well, I'll ask.
But that's like the other night, this past Saturday night, we got a guy with a gun and a domestic. Walked up from my house, call out. 10, 12 of us, tried to do a search for the dog out. We didn't get him, but we got to put out the effort. We got somebody with a gun and they're intoxicated and doped up. There might be a threat to somebody. There's times like that, I don't know. That night we had that girl got ran over. We had about 12 out working that night. Trying to find the vehicle, find him, trying to put the pieces together. Somebody stayed at three different scenes. It takes a whole lot of doing that, something like that.
So our cases went to the grand jury, y'all got a whole lot more cases than you used to, or is it still about the same from you to take this
It's
down?
more down than what it used to. It's a lot busier now than what it used to.
I've got a lot of figures and calculations on my pages here, but I guess it's time for us to look at the 101, 54, 110, see if we're ready to come to a decision. If I counted correctly, we cut $38,500 out of that right now, making that bottom line item what?
2,122,121.
You said minus 38.
38.5, yes, sir. So it'd be $2,122,121. In the 54, 110, that would,
Wait, you see any areas anywhere you can cut? You're asking for an awful lot this year.
Yeah, I know, really. I've looked over it, and just our basic stuff, electricity, gas, and all of it was, gas is right on the line this year, going over. Fuel is, and other supplies that we normally get just to keep the spark going. I don't see anything like it. Too many more rigs.
The way you can't get by with 4 cars,
Like I say, if I don't get them this year, I have to get them next year.
so if you get 5 this year, how many you want next year?
About 3.
They still go home overnight in the cars.
Do you think we can trim overtime down anymore?
That's what I was going to ask.
same.
Oh,
I mean, if you get
Yes,
no
all
officers and
those
stuff,
line items are-
would there be a way that we
Sheriff's
could
Department.
even bring it down to the 90 of what you got?
yeah, we're going to break it up now. That'll be good.
Because I mean, you used to have to pay a lot of overtime for officers sitting in the courtroom. Now they ain't got to do that.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out ways to do it. Like I said, we tried to do it 5 years ago. The PA and the judges didn't want to go with
Those that were affected by
for the way it's
always, you know what I'm saying?
So Amy, do you
So that makes that 48,500. We cut line item of overtime, in the 54, 110, 187, from 130 to 90. I've asked Miss Amy to come up with a number for us here real quick. Kind of where I was going earlier in the total budget that we were talking about, Mr. Ford asked it as well. Let's see what that total budget is at today. Increase wise.
And you're wanting to include the urban services?
Yes, ma'am. The 111 from
3,287,971.
3,200,000.
87,971.
I hate to ask you to do this, but will you tell me what that was last year? I should ask along the way at the same time. That way we can find a percent of increase there.
How much more are we from where we were last year?
Getting that right now.
Do y'all do any employee evaluations on the employees? Just, have you ever got all them done?
all in.
So that was 2,615,350.
Second?
2,615,350,
2,615,350.
350. Or 672,000 increase.
What did you say? Ms. Amy?
672,000 increase.
How much increase?
672,000 increase. Can I ask this question again? This is where I was going earlier. Maybe I misspoke in the way I got my words out, but that's with a $230,000 increase in revenue.
That's supposed to get reset.
Am I,
So with the 230, just subtract it from that 672,
so that would be,
so 442,000.
that's where I was trying to go with it.
Each 2%.
442,000, 600 and 600 something.
672.
So that's a $442,000 roughly increase in here. In that increase over total, that is 7 vehicles. It currently appears those vehicles are, well, plus equipment for those.
Yeah.
So roughly about 58,000 apiece. So you're looking at 406,000. So the majority of this budget's in vehicles. Now, in the last budget, we got to remember he budgeted 3 cars in last year's budget. So is there, I know we've looked at some line items, some little pieces, and what Miss Amy just gave us includes that subtraction of 48,500 from just the 101, the 54,110 budget. But as we go through these, you're expecting some more abilities to cut. I mean, 48,500 doesn't sound like a lot in a $3 million budget, but it is a penny and a half, roughly close, of tax dollars.
Excuse me, what I misunderstood, we're budgeting 5. Forward, we're going to expect 3. $160,000. Should not be there next year.
You do, building off of what Mr. Dennis said, you plan to continue at 3. The reason for 7, and I say 7, the 111 has 2 in it as well. I apologize, the 111 has 2 in it as well. So he's purchasing the 3 he always purchases and 4 to cover the 4 new officers, if I'm getting that correctly.
We could purchase those cars or ARPA funds too.
Is an option that is in front of you. The ARPA funds, I think Miss Amy laid on our
We have
desk.
$1,043,997 will come in tonight.
Are you suggesting that some of those get purchased out of ARPA funds?
Absolutely. Either that or you're gonna have a major tax increase.
Speaking back on that, Ms. Amy stated that this would not require a tax increase to cover this budget as is stated.
On 101 and 111,
That's
I mean,
exactly what I asked. It would not require a tax increase.
To add, I'm not comfortable with that, but yes, it would not require it. I like my fund balance to be above 2 million.
It would hit the
I'm
fund
sorry,
balance.
what did you say?
Fund balance heavy, yeah.
I like my fund balance to be above 2 million, and right now it's hanging around 1.5.
I like that urban services fund balance to be pretty good.
It's about equal to what the general fund balance is at right now.
Well, I mean, the urban services could use tax break for the taxpayers, we have to eventually, that's why we try to keep that.
Mr. Ford, I see a member of our commission, not of the committee, but back here willing to, wanting to ask a question. Is it all right by the members if they ask a question?
Thanks. That's the 230 SRO grant, is that included on the revenue portion of the 101?
That's what Ms. Amy told me.
Should be.
I think that was asked earlier, but I appreciate you asking it again, because I'm still confused with that one a little bit myself. Did you have a question?
I did.
Okay,
Is that okay?
yes, certainly, I wasn't sure about that.
Why does every officer have to have their own vehicle?
Well, it's pretty much standard. Every agency does it. Like I was saying, the other night, they all have like 12 officers. Years ago, the city police.
Two forty-six, 290.
Never get out so they can get in. You wear the card out just as good. You wear out quicker. Plus, the officers have got no vehicle with them. If they're tied up on the car while they're working something, they can't even see. You got officers that drive in, they don't have a car in. It's pretty much standard now, everywhere you go, city, county, everywhere that's gonna be issues.
It just seems like a lot.
Do all of our officers live in
I was
Charles
getting ready to
County?
ask the same thing.
Now, you got a 20-mile radius.
Look like they might have to leave there. How many miles they putting on them extra going around the county at night? I mean, on their way home and stuff.
Well, I got one that's like 4 miles across the
Oh,
line.
that ain't too bad there.
Most of them are pretty close. Over Grayson, 31E.
So you ain't looking at 10 or 20 miles extra a day.
I got, about 4 of those in my favor. Some of them right there off Highway 10. But then you look around the community here, you can see 11 cars.
Oh, yeah.
cars,
Yeah, everybody drives their own car.
Metro Nashville
I
cars.
was just curious.
Yeah.
I mean, I was,
Yeah, you see gals in 11 cars.
I wish everybody was from Travis County, but that's not the case anymore.
So when you call somebody out, one of them 12, that's some of them that coming from Fayette and Rancher coming in too?
We try not to call out the furthest ones away, just the closest ones, like the other night, one of the furthest ones like that, when you call them. Even in my jail, half of them in the jail. Dispatch. After 2 years ago, I had 19 officers that I put through school working for other agencies. 3 or 4 of them retired. Chris Shockley retired a couple weeks ago.
I think the Corps here is trying to do all we can do to help your officers.
Oh, it's good right now.
I mean, compared to
I had
the counties
one-
our size, I think we're doing.
I had one to leave since last year, and he was planning on leaving anyway. He just wasn't.
I mean, I think the court's really tried to help you out.
I appreciate it. They've done a good job.
I mean, we need to try to help us out on this one here a little bit.
But we gotta take care of the public, is what I'm looking at.
But I mean, is Smith County and these other counties, do they have that many officers on the shift?
Yeah.
I thought I talked to Smith County, he's sort of like, or maybe I was wrong, I thought he said they had like 3 a shift, like sort of like y'all do here now, but I know they got the city police departments and stuff.
Yeah, you got Garnesville, and you got South Carthage, and you got Carthage.
Yeah.
Well, here we're doing it all, so it makes a difference. Mike County got Red Ball in Mike County.
Yeah.
You take down 231, I went around there the other day, just counting, there's 14 different businesses down there now. That little circle there.
Yeah, it needs a full-time officer really down there.
There's something going on down there all the time.
Chairman,
Yes, sir.
make a motion, we pay for the cars in total, $290,000 ARPA fund.
For the cars in this budget, 209,000 out of ARPA.
And the other stuff that come with it.
Mr. Ford, I would honor that for sure, but would you be comfortable pushing that to paying the 3 that we've been always paying for, and then just paying for the additional 4 cars?
This all help us a lot next year though.
Still waste for 3 every year.
I'm saying his budget's always had 3 in it, and I'm just asking, I'll take it either way you want to go with that, but would you be comfortable? There's 7 total cars in here, 4 for the 4 new officers. Let's take the 4 new officers, take that 4 cars total cost out of the ARPA, and then put the additional 3 cars to stay on the budget the way they've been. That way that budget is continually running at 3 cars. Just a thought. But I'll take the 4 in the motion the way you put it. That's where you want to go.
Is anything else big in ARPA that we may be wanting to take out in this budget that we ain't going over yet?
No, I think you've pretty much touched on most. The rescue department does have a pretty big ask. I don't know how you all feel on that right now. not asking.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that tomorrow.
Yep.
Mr. Ford made a motion that we take the 101-54-110 budget as is, am I correct on that? And pay for the 290,000, these 5 cars out of ARPA. Do I hear a second to that motion?
I'll say.
Okay. I have a second, motion and second that the 101-54-10 sheriff's budget be a favorable recommendation and ARPA funds be used to pay for 5 cars at a total of 290,000 cost. Do I hear any discussion? That was with the subtractions that he had made of the 48,500.
The 290 patrol cars, that's the flip and all those with it there.
That's what it states here. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
that'll be the laptops, the equipment, and the cars.
That fully equips 5 cars, according to this line. Hopefully there'll be a little savings in there, we'll see. All right, all those in favor on the 54-110 budget that we're looking at here in this case, of a favorable recommendation to the body with the addition of subtracting the 290,000 in cars, those will be paid for by ARPA. What does that bring that total number to? I think it's,
Currently, I'm at 2,110,756.
right, minus the 290, right?
So 1,820,756. 820,
1,820,756.
756.
Did everyone hear what that final line item was?
That's the 1827.
1,820,756 as the final line item of the total sheriff's department out of 101 to 54-110.
Say it one more time.
$1,820,756. And that includes the 7 new positions that the sheriff has asked for. 4 new deputies and 3 new dispatchers. Okay, all those in favor of that motion being favorable to the court, let it be known by stating aye. Aye. And it is, any opposed? It moves favorable. Sheriff, I appreciate the way you presented your pieces there, and I know we're having
Yeah, I appreciate it too.
I know it's tougher conversations.
Yeah.
And as I said in the beginning, I think you've always tried to handle your budget very tight. I appreciate that. We will move to, 54-120, which is on page 22, SROs. It appears that fund is just a revenue for us and a cost going out back to those officers.
You notice on here too, I've got travel down for them in service development. Each one of them has to go to Gatlinburg every summer. That's their whole training. That's to pay for their motel rooms, food, and gas, and everything, whatever it costs. You know, additional training we may have too. That's what that money's for.
Any questions here? 54-120. I'm assuming that it has the 2.5% increase in here as well. It does have the 2.5% miscellaneous statement in the raises.
I make a motion to recommend it, approve.
Make a motion in favor of a favorable recommendation. Any discussion?
Just one. I'm sorry, I don't know if it is only for the overtime stuff. But I seen the 17,000 overtime for those three.
I think you are.
So what this is, though, this money is gonna be just for them. Instead of getting comp time in the summers and taking off in the summer, I'm gonna have them to work. And, they were working in the summers to take off. Plus, they're gonna be working the elementary school too. The money that we don't spend here, will roll over into next year's budget.
But the money we get from the state is gonna cover it all.
Yeah, that's what this is. This is budget, this is budgeted just for this. What we're getting, I can't put it nowhere else but here.
So your middle school and your high school SRO will no longer get comp time?
They're gonna start going overtime.
So you're gonna have an additional 2 officers in the summer?
Well, see, the elementary school, she don't get hardly any.
But she doesn't get comp time?
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
so she mostly be working to the summer anyway.
Right, I understand that part of that. So she's your SRO out there at the
And
elementary
really,
school?
the only overtime they'll get be working on ball games mostly.
So instead of comp time, we're gonna pay overtime?
Yeah, that's what the money's for, yes. They come back and use it any way I wanted to, as long as it was for school security and SRO budget. And that's gonna save us money in the 101 general fund. Keep out, pay out taxpayers overtime money, for money we're getting for the state. That's what I hope we do. What we don't spend, like I say, if we roll over and, here too, we might have some money paid on our car. With body cameras, they're bad.
You mentioned something there that caught my ear a little bit. There's 230,000 coming in, $223,001 has been budgeted here. Are we gonna be docked if we don't spend that entire 230,000?
No. Well, we understand, they explain to us what we don't spend, we'll stay roll over the next year.
I'm just thinking on other budgets I've seen in the past, sometimes when state money comes and you don't spend it, they,
It's kind of like the drug funds, but what we don't spend, it'll stay in there.
okay,
Roll over, because they said, the only thing we can spend it on is just for this. We can't go out, it's gotta be done for the school.
all right. I had a motion and a second, I believe, for a favorable recommendation. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor of favorable recommendation of the 54,120, let it be known by stating aye. Aye. It is favorable. Without any cuts. Oh, drug enforcement, 54,150.
This is our task force change.
Looks like not a lot of change there. The 2.5% increase in salary is pretty much the increase to this budget.
Just like the vehicle, for him, we don't pay for the vehicle, task force pays for the vehicle he uses, doing this stuff.
Do I hear any recommendation? Motion to approve. Do I hear a second? I do have a second, Mr. Gregory. Any other discussion? We're on 54,150. If no other discussion, all those in favor, let it be known by stating aye. Aye. It is favorable.
What is the other, are we moving on to 54,160, I'm sorry?
Yes, ma'am, I think that is our, yes, ma'am. 54,160.
Yes. Sheriff, what is the 2,500 for other equipment? Did I miss that? Did you?
Talking about the sex offender registry.
Yes.
What this is, people are sex offenders here in Travis County, they have to come register with us. And Troy and Cheney take care of most of all this. They come in and do the registry, and and we get $150, once, twice a year, whatever it is, and, 100 of it goes to us, and 50 goes to the state. And that money can only be used for sex offender registry work. We can buy computers with it and other stuff. That's where that line item's in there in case we need to buy a computer or anything else. You know what we're doing. We can only spend those sort of funds.
Don't buy a whole laptop. Any other discussion? Motion to approve, we have here a favorable recommendation of 54,160. We're on page 22 of the 101.
I say,
Got a second as well. Any discussion otherwise on the 54,160?
I just want to explain why it jumped up this year. We had it 27% last year.
I think Mr. Russell Sheriff Russell stated that was a computer cost that he's looking to buy.
Yeah, equipment or anything we got, we budget for, in case something goes down, we got money to buy it. That keeps us having to buy it through the general fund, the taxpayers have to pay for it. At this point, these people, sex offenders are paying for their offenders.
It is offset by revenue in the reserve account. And it's budgeted the same every year.
There's more money in there than that. But we just budget low amount because I don't want a budget at all, because if I do, it's gonna make the tax rate go up. If we're not gonna keep it low, to what we think we might have to spend. If we had to go spend a lot, we'd come back with a budget, and ask to spend it.
It would be there for us.
But I don't want to budget $30,000 or whatever's in there now. Got to keep the tax rate down.
Thank you, sir. I did have a motion in a second as a favorable recommendation. We all good there on discussion now? If so, all those in favor, let me know by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed? It is favorable. We will be moving to page 23, the 54,210, the jail.
Line item 162. The warrant clerk?
Yeah.
What do we need a warrant?
What it is, warrants at the jail. I got 8 different women in the office going through, and I'm having trouble with 8 different hands doing the job. The state recommended me do this. State inspector came today, inspected the jail. I told him I had this in the budget. They said it was a good thing. We've had some trouble where we have a warrant in the computer, and one would put it in, and another one might not take it out. We can turn around and arrest somebody, and work that arrested before the same time. We've been having problems with that happening some, not a lot, but they recommended to me that one person should be doing this to like get hands.
one of the 8 that you've already got can't do this.
Well, they can do it, but I really need one person doing it.
I mean, you have one doing it now, then maybe, so it's like they or whoever you got maybe the slowest shift or something could do it or something.
Well, usually the warrants come in all during the day, and we have different ones that enter in the night. And you have to go back and barricade them, and it's a lot more to it just to enter them in, take them out. You gotta work your tickets and stuff that you take them out.
So what shift would this one work? Day shift?
It'll be
So
probably
you have 3 or
Monday
4
through Friday. The state recommended me do this, TCI and others that, it's just like today, the jail inspector came and, they failed our jail inspection because the females was overcrowded. The jail's overcrowded and, some of the correction officers work with that. where the females need to be doing other things and who wants it.
Say midnight, during the night, I mean, what could the jailer be doing if they're back there asleep, they go back there and check them every 15 minutes, or?
They have to go back there at least every hour and go in, and then have to get up and fix breakfast and cook, and we got them up there in the other building, up there and check on them too also, it's something.
So the
going on.
jailers are cooking, or we have cooks that are cooking?
Right, they do both.
I just think we could do without this one work and let one of the 8 that could handle that right now, but I mean, but you said the children, the energy to hire something.
Yeah, the state recommends me do this.
So that would be a total of 8 new employees to the sheriff's department.
7. 4 deputies, 2 dispatchers, 7.
Oh. Your dispatcher states you're going from 4 to 3, from 4 to 7?
Yeah, right now I got 6 dispatchers. So, like I say, we're splitting the shift, from 12 to 12. I don't have anybody on from 12 night till the next day.
So what about one of them extra dispatchers? Do they handle this job when it's slow and ain't much going on?
Yeah, they don't have anything to do with it once.
But they could, I mean, I guess.
No, I can't. I gotta stay for jail.
So where would this position be housed at?
Jail.
Or at, you got an extra office, or they just gonna be down there with the jailers out there?
I got a workstation.
I think it's, maybe we can do like this to maybe look at it next year, as much as he's added this year, I just don't see that's needed, I think it's that.
Sheriff, can you make it without this one?
Pretty hard to keep it up to date.
But you've been doing it for years, I mean, you said it's been a few mishaps, but it ain't been that many yet.
Yeah.
I mean, everything else looks pretty good.
Just skipping down to 187, from the actual overtime in the jail in 2021, 2022, when you didn't have all your employees, to now at 40,000, there's 30,000, there's that position pretty much right there.
Yeah.
In the overtime line item. Could we drop
I
that
could
over?
knock it back down to probably about 15.
With the overtime?
Yeah.
You just say 15?
15,000.
Well, that was in that old one, right?
That pretty well covers for that position.
Yeah.
That's missing about $6,000 of that position, if I'm. $6,441 of that position.
I
Maybe
got
we
a
can
full
find that
crew
somewhere
in
else.
jail right now, but like I say, I'm gonna have to pull, there's 2 or 3 of them want to go on the road eventually. I'm gonna pull from there, go to there, then I'm gonna hire a replacement train.
But you'd still have that position.
And it's gonna take me the whole year to do this.
Makes sense. But you got a plan for who's going on the road?
Yeah, because right now, like, this next class is already full. It's gonna be the winter class. I need somebody. And I'm gonna try to get them in there as long as we get to go for free, if needs are key.
So the 3 new ones you want to hire, you want to try to hire from the
Yeah.
others down there. I mean, I think that's a good deal.
I try to,
Mhm.
the ones that want to, I'll offer it to them, if they don't want to, they stay in jail.
I think
Try to
that's
get there
I do too.
and give it a shot. Now, if I have a real good certified officer, that's, good,
Yeah.
that I can hire,
But now's the time to send them to the academy if he's
I
paying.
know it, I know it.
Can I, on the next line item I'd like to look at in this conversation, we're getting close here, I think, on that one. Medical insurance. Do all these employees take medical insurance?
I don't know, that's,
Most do.
Most do.
And we have to budget, if he's taking 3 from the jail, we have to budget for those new ones coming in.
Okay.
But yes, it's a very good chance that a lot of that will be turned back.
That's what, there's a likeliness that we've noticed in our insurances pieces here that have been not taken. Memory serves me, each of those positions is about 70,000, some change on insurance.
What is line item 355, that travel, you've got it, that you had it projected at 5,000 this past year, but you're going up to 7,500. What is that travel actually for?
That's like I say, it's for, training. The state's offering more training for free, and I try to get more training.
Just want to go to spend the night somewhere, or?
Yeah.
Can you knock that back down to 5,000 like you had it last year? That's
Yeah,
what
I can do
25.
that. I'll do that.
On the 422 food and supplies, it's been actually coming in this year, 2021, 2022 year, it came in 42,000. This year it's estimated to come in at 45,000. It's still budgeted at 90. Can we shave some there as well? We might have that position covered.
How much we actually spent last year? Do you remember?
42,691.
I think you can drop it down to about 55 and be safe.
Yeah, I probably can. Yeah, we'll do that.
Knock that 90 to 55. That's got us covered on that.
Things looking a lot better.
Now, water, you look at the bottom of that page right there, it's got water, it's got a leak at the jail. What happened was, underneath our jail, we got a slab. And underneath the slab is rock field. We had a busted line under the jail leaking down into the ground, we didn't know it. And, it was leaking, I've got how many gallons a minute. But what we couldn't detect it anymore outside, it wasn't coming to the surface, we didn't know it was leaking until they read the meter. To read the meter, you have to go down the ground, like this deep, they read it electronically. That's what happened to our water.
So does the sheriff's department not have the leak detection insurance?
Yeah, I thought Darren's supposed to be taking care of that. We had, the copper pipe runs underneath the slab. So what we done was, we had taken, X, hook it on coming out of the floor, run it overhead, down to the slab, bypass it. Didn't do that, we had jackhammer the floor, but luckily we were able to do that, and tell them what that would cost. Plus, we'd had to evacuate the jail for I don't know how long till we got it fixed. It's,
So hopefully that's going to go right back to that $7,000 and keep going.
yeah, it should drop back down to where it's supposed to be.
Are there any other line items in here? Looks like, Ms. Amy, can you give us a new total?
And I had a water leak at the City Hall building. And we got the tracing lines. I was giving the water department water. I was giving the concession stand football field water. That little insurance office outside us, it's been getting free water since it's been there. Sheriff's Department is paying for the water. And there's another, I don't know if it's, we get water in the field for free too, through my budget. All these years.
We have a very sizable credit on that particular
I
account.
know, we got a good credit on it, but I just let you know about water. They didn't know where it was going. They said, you got a leak? I said, I had Darren over there, it was going under the floor. We was checking the main line, if it was leaking, you'd be running through the sewer line. There wasn't no water coming through nowhere. You leaking 3 gallons a minute, but we can't find it. They went out to football concession stand, line it was. In the winter, it was leaking in the winter.
Did you get a new total?
So that new total is $1,436,564.
Everybody get that number? That's a new total for the 54, 210 at it was at 1,502,477, the new line item with the deductions that the sheriff's agreed to, or $1,436,564. That does include a new position. All right, any other discussion on this 54,210? 54,210 is our jail. If not, any motion by the body?
Make a motion to send it favorable.
We have a motion by Mr. Dennis, send it favorable. Ms. Atwood as well, as favorable. All those in favor, let it be known by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, we're getting some movement now. Workhouse, 54,220. Sheriff, I'm just gonna ask up front, it appears to be a very sizable increase in the guards. That is 2 positions. That's a 21% increase in pay in that line item.
Whenever we, done their assessment, we get them down as, more, work crew guard, they more like maintenance. Just like what I said there and done, the bypass, they instead of calling somebody in and doing it, they do a lot of maintenance stuff. The jail, it's different areas, they have found different areas of the county too. And, I put them up for, I think they need to take their knowledge, just like we get ready to build a new jail, they're gonna have to go to school, and learn how to operate all this new stuff. I told them, we're going to a new place, and even this building here, I'm gonna get them to start doing work in here. Just got so much on him, your park and rec guy shouldn't be taking care of your criminal justice. We need to be taking care of it. I'll need him to help some on some of the stuff that he knows, but, I think we need to do more of our maintenance type work.
21% increase, everybody else getting 2.5.
You're saying these employees are gonna be paid at what you believe they should have been listed at in these?
Yeah, they were paid lower rate than I thought they should have been to start with.
If they knew what they viewed when they started, what they was making over there.
That's what we're doing, based on them too. Right here is put them up to where maintenance person should be.
You looked at the pay, at the wage study, and this is where the maintenance
Yeah, it should
individual
be
should be.
around that area there.
So both of them are considered maintenance or just there?
Both of them do maintenance. We do electrical, plumbing, paint, they do a little bit of everything.
I just think that's a big increase.
I agree that 21% is a big increase, but you're telling me that we reevaluated that individual to a different position.
Yeah,
Is what we're
instead of
saying.
being just a guard, they were getting paid less people than just that. I'm just hiring on. They've been there for 8 years. I'm sure 5 years.
Here's the one thing I'm seeing, and I appreciate you giving me the why. That's what I want to know is the why on that part. I think they're 2 very valuable individuals that take care of a crew, 3 to 4 guys with them pretty regular, and do a lot of maintenance for our county and for our jail.
Yeah.
Understood.
And just like today, we went out to football field, the baseball field, too, all that debris. And we do stuff all the time on the courthouse. I told Aaron to go over there and fix the LED bulbs and those lanterns and stuff. I showed him to do stuff like that too, and to them. Anything they need done, let me know. We paint the city hall building, we do a lot of inside, outside painting. Just like the jail, we went in there that time, and they built a booking area, and all whatever steps, they told people to do it, putting in floor in the Darren's got there, putting a new floor in the jail kitchen last week. Instead of calling somebody in to do it, we do it ourselves.
Sounds like it's pretty good savings.
That's not counting other things that they do too, but we did a lot, we built the field house at the football field, we built the concession stand, we built the press box. Baseball field, Davey got printers over there, and Larry didn't have to build all that. There'll be a lot of things you don't think about.
Another position has been, nobody's been handling the office, doing a whole lot more she's doing, we didn't recommend giving her, but we sort of recommend a bonus for her. I'll be good for 10%, 21% person.
What did that change their hourly wage from to what? I think while she's getting that number, I think 21% is a high number. The reason I wanted it to come out was I just wanted to hear where we were at in the reasoning.
Well, that's the reason, they do a whole lot more work, save the county a lot more money than the toilet stop up there, they're cleaning them out Christmas Eve.
Yes, sir. That's what I wanted to get out.
They're down there doing stuff like that.
Yes, sir. I think there's a
And
lot
after
of,
Christmas Eve, they're not the toilets up, they do that every work, it's taken out.
I think we have individuals that are qualified with those positions to do the work. They're doing the electrical, the plumbing.
Well, that's
There's a
what
lot of
Larry and Darren
savings.
both done before I hired them.
What was that?
Darren on his own business, Larry done construction.
What's their hours, Monday through Friday?
They come in, that's like, storm hit, our tower, our something rain. Darren came in on Sunday, I get the street fixed, keep the storm, fix the road, cut the debris around.
I mean, I don't, I still doubt they probably need it, but I just think it's needed because I don't know everybody else where we get $3.
Roughly a $2.50 an hour raise is what we're talking about right now. But what we're saying is that individual is being classified as a different position. What he's asked to move them from is a level 6 to a level 7. He's thinking they should have been evaluated at a level 7 on the step. So he's staying inside. That's one thing I want to make sure of. We're staying inside the process that was adopted as a county policy. So we're going from 6 to 7, level 6 to level 7. So there's on evaluation moving from level 6 to level 7.
To use the same language that's in the study, it's a grade, so it's from grade 6 to a grade 7, and they're moving up a step.
They do a lot of my transport, they'll come in on weekends, Saturdays, Sundays, they transport. I got them doing everything.
The grade and get the step.
And they don't get holiday pay, they don't work holidays.
All right, so that's moving them from a grade 6 to a grade 7. And the 2.5% increase that is throughout this budget right now for all employees. Where do we feel?
I've stated how I feel, and I think it's what I want you to bring that control numbers to try to move theirs up a step or two.
Would you feel comfortable just moving them a grade and not a percent and a grade?
Not really.
It's about a 50-cent difference, about $2 instead of $2.50.
No, I thought they should have been put where they're at last time.
Understood.
Kind of slipped over, you know.
Understood. I appreciate you.
And you know what they do too, is they didn't do nothing but they do a lot of stuff to save us money.
Understood. As chair, I'm not gonna make a motion, but I would entertain a motion as favorable. If I was sitting in your seats, I'd be giving it right now, to be honest with you.
Sure, what you're saying is these individuals should have been classed as what you're classing
Yeah,
last year. Last year.
they were classified lower than regular guard.
Do they have to go to the same training as the guards, do they? So, I mean,
Yeah, they have those.
And they are taking individuals out of the jail in a vehicle and watching those individuals working in our county.
what about the guy that goes out there with Cliff's crew and does cardboard? We gonna give him a raise to do that
They
too?
makes more than they do. We didn't make.
That's what I'm saying, when you asking for,
Really making-
I mean, these other departments
We're
will ask
making
their
$20
staff.
an hour. He's making 19 something. He's making more than that.
I mean, we get that, but then if we do this, these other departments is gonna come back and say, well, I should have had mine increased, and that step increase, and they'll give an explanation too, I think.
We really don't do that.
I won't disagree with you, Mr. Greer. I think it's one of those deals where it appears this was missed in last year's steps, is his reasoning for this piece. So,
I recommend that we recommend the $2 rate, whatever, the $2 step, instead of the two, whatever y'all said.
a step increase, the grade increase versus the step. So the step is $2, is a 2.5% stepping that we're talking about on top of the grade here, is what's been projected in this budget. What you're saying is you want to go from a grade 6 to a grade 7.
And how much will that increase?
I'd have to get the total number again. We had it a second ago.
Okay, what are we looking for?
Without the step. So it's got the grade, but no step change.
So that would bring it, that line item to $77,025.
I mean, I'll make that, recommend that.
70.
Well, I'll just drop them back down to regular guards. We'll start calling somebody to fix all this stuff.
It does keep them at a grade 7. One would be at 1957, the other would be at 2056.
And what was the other?
The last one was 2056.
Yeah, but what was the one before?
1957
With the 2.5%.
with the 2.5. So that would put the first one at 2006 and the second one at 2108.
A little less than 50 cents there that we're talking about per. Still increasing those by a little over $2 each.
And I am saying that there is some padding to that as far as what the number you're looking at. So if you wanted to budget it at 79,000 even, that would actually get them with the grade increase and the step increase.
But it was already 78,950.
The listed is 82,000.
Not on what we're seeing.
I'm sold 78 now.
We're showing 78,950.
Okay. And somehow my number got changed along the way. My bad.
So which one is it?
Should be that 78,950.
Okay. So if we budget it at 78,950, we can cover it.
Mhm.
Is that the motion number?
Your motion was to go to a grade 7, not grade 6, and not do a step. So in other words, it's just taking off the 2.5% for these two positions. Am I
And that's still
understanding that
give
correctly?
them a raise to 19.
It raises them a grade.
That's my motion.
I don't see anywhere else we can pull anything from to cut, you know.
Mhm.
It's just what it is.
Yeah, the majority of this is in that raise right there. As I stated, I'll take the motion. Do I hear a second?
If you cut their overtime back to, say, 500, because they're not using overtime at all,
Yeah.
would Mr. Gregory be willing to keep what was proposed?
If we cut their overtime,
Mhm.
to what?
To 500.
Yeah, I mean, that's getting it back to work.
That puts the other 1,000 in there and does the 2.5%.
Mhm.
So that leaves the pay at where the pay would be, where the sheriff has asked us.
Yes.
They don't get hardly any overtime. What I do is, if I have to call them in and they're good with it, they always work good with me. If they come in like on Sundays, they'll take that time off during the week. So if Darren came in on Sunday and had to work 5 hours, he might take off early.
I like it.
And they don't, like I say, they don't work on holidays. They get holiday pay, but they don't work on holidays, they get double pay.
So we're slashing the 1,500 on overtime to 500 and keeping the guards at a raise, at the increased grade of from 6 to 7 and step increase for each of those based on what their step would be. Is that correct? Mr.
What
Green?
was that, put your salary or start with hourly rate at?
$20.06 for one of them, $21.08 for the other.
And how long they been with you?
I think Larry's been there 8 years, Darren's been there
One has been there for 10 years,
10.
9 years, and the other is a little bit more than 4.
Yeah.
We'll go with that. So that puts it back exactly where you would ask it to be,
Taking the, that's taking the 500.
but it takes it down to 500 on the overtime.
And that puts the function at 120,407.
Okay. Is that in the motion you said?
Yeah.
Do I hear a second to that motion? I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor, let it be known by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed? It is favorable. The only true change in that was the $1,500 overtime, 187 became a $500 overtime in 187. All right. We can move to the 111. And we're on page 3, if I'm not mistaken, of the 111, 54,110 out of 111.
Y'all skip over the alcohol, drug, 101.
Because I didn't have it listed.
Did we miss it? I apologize, it wasn't listed on my documents.
It is 55,170. 55,170.
Full page.
Don't have that page anymore.
55,170 is page 31. Alcohol, drug, and programs. It is the exact same line item as last year, 8980 and 8980.
The only thing we could spend this money on is drug treatment, education, and, at one time, we used to put on some classes here, and this money was used to pay the instructor. Junior, Durham used to do it. I think she was the last one to do it. But that's what that money's for. And I think in that too, also, that account's got like $70,000 in it. We're pretty close.
I'll agree with you. I haven't looked at that number in a while.
And we can't spend on nothing else but what it is.
All right. Any further discussion on this 55,170? Sheriff, I appreciate you catching that on us. Sorry we skipped over it.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve, favorable recommendation.
Yes, ma'am.
Any second to that? Got a second? Motion and second to approve. Any other discussion? We're on page 31 of the 101, 55,170. All those in favor, let it be known by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed? It is approved favorably. I think that is it in here. Yes, that concludes our 101 of tonight. 111, sheriff's again, 54,110 in the 111. So if I'm looking at this one correct, you've added one dispatcher in this one, and you have added, help me out on that, 106. Chief and 6 officers.
Yeah.
Is that an additional officer? No?
I think there's one, in the right name of one, added to that.
Trying to remember, I'm sorry. I believe that is correct. No, I actually have 2 in there,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
2 dispatchers,
2 officers.
2 officers.
So you're only wanting 1 officer in that one, correct?
Yes. That's whatever y'all want, I don't matter.
Does that cover you on that?
I'm good wherever y'all want to go.
So the urban services is paying for the chief's salary, he's the highest paid deputy you got. We paying for the highest other officer you got, ain't Cheney in the 111 too?
Cheney is not in
Okay,
111.
who's the other one in 111?
You have Cato, Cochran, Enoch, McDonald. That's who's
So we're
in.
paying for the chief and Cato's a sergeant.
Mhm.
I just, like I said, from urban services standpoint, I mean, I think we're paying for enough. Asking people in urban services to pay for more urban services, I don't know, man, we get the same service, I mean, we already paying for the highest, the chief, that's a pretty good jump in the deputy salary there, in the urban services.
But that originally had 2 officers additional to it?
Yes,
And we're adding 4 officers still, correct?
yes.
So maybe we move that back down to 1 officer then, he's asking for around this.
Is that correct?
Yes.
So that's going down to 1 officer. What will that make that new line item instead of 350?
I'm getting there.
But that will get his positions. He's asked for new positions, correct?
Mhm.
Okay.
You want 1 patrol in this. So that would move this to just an even 300 for the deputies.
So line item 54, 110, 106 out of the 111 would be 300,000 instead of 350,000. Line item in the 111, 54, 110, 106 deputies.
And how many dispatchers is urban services paying for now? 3, then this will be 1 will be 4, we'll still be paying 3 out of 7.
I think it's 3 of them.
It says 3 of 7.
There are 2 that are being paid out of there right now.
There's 2 right now, and he's asking for another.
He's asking for another.
Okay. 2 of the 7, or 3 of the 7 would be paid out of this now. They were
I
currently
mean, I
2.
don't understand, I don't know why we got to pay for extra there either in urban services. And we are having an urban service council meeting, the night before work session. So let the other ones on the urban service council look at this budget, so we know set the tax levy with urban services. Stop it. I mean, I think we'd be pretty good with the 300, just that 1 officer, but I think we need to stay with the same dispatchers that we've got.
It don't matter if we don't put back.
I mean, this urban services, once this maintenance of effort, though, once we, urban services does this, I mean, it'd be that there.
I mean, with these new officers, are we gonna need that much in overtime? Did something be shaped off of that?
Should be.
That way maybe you could get that other dispatcher.
I can take that down probably about 30.
30?
Yeah. Leave that in there. Yeah.
So that's shaving 60,000 off of, sorry, that is line item 54,110, 187 in the 111, from 40,000 to 30,000. That word overtime has been tough lately. But with all the new employees, hopefully that would be very good to cut back those overtimes.
And I can move your insurance down to 63,504.
Taking out that one employee
Correct.
takes out that.
I had it calculated for 10, so that would show 9.
About 7,200
What's
and
that
change.
figure again, Amy?
63,507, you say?
504.
504.
And the maintenance and repair of vehicles, you spent 1,500 last year, got 10,000 in here, and you get new vehicles. Can you knock that down some? You think you use the whole 10,000 on that? 338, 54, 338.
Looks like the last 2 years have been
I'll knock
1,200.
it down to 5,000.
What's law enforcement equipment for 25,000? That need to come out of urban services, does that cover their officers and this?
That's equipping the vehicles as well. I know I have it on the motor vehicle line, but that 25,000 includes equipping some of the vehicles.
Well, if we can take the vehicle and equipment out and put it in the ARPA like we did the other ones, I think the urban service would be pretty satisfied is what we're asking about there.
You putting that in the form of a motion?
I think I'd be good with that. I mean, I don't know about the other two on the committee, but if we could put the 125, the cars and the equipment on the ARPA, that'd be 300,000 for the officers, the dispatcher.
The 25,000 was in last year's budget as well. Budgeted in the 2022, 2023 was 25,000. He just left that line item the same.
So would it need to be that much, Sheriff?
I'll probably take it down to about 20.
So do you here's the motion.
I'm just, I'm making that we do the ARPA for the two cars.
So with the deductions that have,
We moved 20,000 in.
with the deductions that have been made in 106, 187, 207, 338, 716, and removing the 718, or not removing it, but paying for the 718 out of ARPA.
That's not, yeah, and I'll make a motion where it is, we still have to look at it for emergency services, that's what it's.
Can you give us I know that's what you're doing.
I'm getting there. Were you keeping it at 120,000 for ARPA?
No.
What was it?
Just the 100, just the patrol cars, he's leaving the equipment at 20. Will that work?
Should be okay.
So total line item is 743,595.
With the 100,000 of ARPA,
So that would be 643.
643,595. That would leave, as tonight, that would leave the ARPA balance of $653,997.
I had a motion that we recommend that, and I have to say,
I have not heard,
I'll second that.
we do have a second. Motion and a second to recommend the 54-110 and the 111 with the deduction stated and the ARPA funding for the vehicles. Any other discussion? All those in favor, let it be known by stating aye. Aye. Any opposed? It is favorable.
And sure, if we are having an urban services council meeting, we'll go with our council, will go with budget there, not for work session, 5:30. It's just
We do have in the Fund 122, which is our county drug, let's finish that one up tonight. It's got a green tab on it. Miss Amy did a great job there helping us tabbed out. It appears to have decreased in total, oh, I'm sorry, in fund balance, I apologize.
What I've done on that, we had 2 vehicles that we seized. They had liens on them, we paid the vehicles off. And, we just get ready to put that money back into the budget. One vehicle we paid for $14,000, a Chevrolet pickup truck, we sold it, I think, for $6,000. So we made $20,000 on that vehicle. And on the other vehicle, I think we made $3,000.
So that's just showing at this time, not back.
Yeah, it's gonna be
Yeah.
put back in. We just now got to,
We just did it the other day.
we took our drug fund money, we paid off, get that money back, plus we made about $26,000.
All right, do I hear any discussion on this line, on the 122? Budget of 122, which is county drug fund.
We seize a lot of vehicles, people don't realize we sell most of them.
Motion to approve. Do I hear a second? Mr. Gregory? All those in favor, let me know by stating aye. Aye. It is favorable. Sheriff, I appreciate your time.
Yeah,
If I understand this correctly, the Finance Committee has approved the expenditures of each of the new 7 employees, is what we've been told here in this case, and 7 vehicles being funded. If I'm not mistaken, all those vehicles are funded out of ARPA. All right. Thank you, Sheriff. Entertain a motion to adjourn. I've got one of those, please. So moved. Thank you, sir. Y'all just get up and move.
I got a public comment.
I don't really have that in the agenda, but I mean, there's nothing in the agenda for that piece, and we have actually adjourned.
I just had a couple of questions for Amy, if you need to email you, that's fine. The items that we've taken off of 101 and the ARPA stuff, what would the expected fund balance at the end of next year be, and how much ARPA do we have left?
$653,997.
That's the ARPA balance. And then we're looking at, scrolling down here. We're looking at, okay, I'm now happy. We're looking at an ending fund balance of 2.1.